Hello, and welcome back to a reading of the D&D Player's Handbook 5e, part number 3. Alright, so part 3 for this video is going to be Dwarf, because I'm just doing specifically each race individually, so you don't have to try to skim past annoying long videos to find what you're really interested in for your own race. I apologize that I will probably sound stuffy, and I may or may not cough, because I am still getting over COVID, but I also know that if I don't do any of this now, I'm never going to, because that's one of my things, is if I start a project, if I don't continue it, it no longer exists to me at all. Yay! ADHD, aren't you fun? No. Not at all. So, we are starting off on Dwarf, which is pages 18 through 20. We begin. Dwarf. "You're late, elf," came the rough edge of a familiar voice. Brenor Battlehammer walked up behind his dead foe, disregarding the fact that the heavy monster lay on top of his elven friend. In spite of the added discomfort, the dwarf's long, pointed, often broken nose and gray-streaked, though still fiery red beard came as a welcome sight to Drist. "Knew ye'd find trouble if I came out and looking for ye." R.A. Salvatore, The Crystal Shard. Kingdoms rich in ancient grandeur, halls carved into the roots of mountains, the echoing of picks and hammers in deep mines and blazing forges, a commitment to clan and tradition, and the burning hatred of goblins and orcs. These common threads unite all dwarves. Short and stout. Bold and hardy, dwarves are known as skilled warriors, miners, and workers of stone and metal. Though they stand well under 5 feet tall, dwarves are so broad and compact that they can weigh as much as a human standing nearly 2 feet taller. Their courage and endurance are also easily a match for any of the larger folk. Dwarven skin ranges from a deep brown to a paler hue tinged with red, but the most common shades are light brown or deep tan, like certain earth tones. Their hair, worn long but in simple styles, is usually black, gray, or brown, though paler dwarves often have red hair. Male dwarves value their beards highly and groom them carefully. Long memory, long grudges. Dwarves can live to be more than 400 years old, so the oldest living dwarves often remember a very different world. For example, some of the oldest dwarves living in Citadel Felbar and the world of the Forgotten Realms can recall the day more than 3 centuries ago when orcs conquered the fortress and drove them into exile that lasted over 250 years. This longevity grants them a perspective on the world that their shorter-lived races, such as humans and halflings, lack. Dwarves are solid and enduring, like the mountains they love, weathering the passage of centuries with stoic endurance and little change. They respect the traditions of their clans, tracing their ancestry back to the founding of the most ancient strongholds in the youth of the world, and don't abandon those traditions lightly. Part of those traditions is devotion to the gods, the gods of the dwarves, who uphold dwarven ideals of industrious labor, skill in battle, and devotion to the forge. Individual dwarves are determined and loyal, true to their word, and decisive in action, sometimes to the point of stubbornness. Many dwarves have a strong sense of justice, and they are slow to forget wrongs they have suffered. A wrong done to one dwarf is a wrong done to the dwarf's entire clan, so it begins as one dwarf's hunt for vengeance can become a full-blown clan feud. Clans and kingdoms. Dwarven kingdoms stretch deep beneath the mountains, where dwarves mine gems and precious metals and forge items of wonder. They love the beauty and artistry of precious metals and fine jewelry, and in some dwarves, this love festers into avarice. Whatever wealth they can't find in their mountains, they gain through trade. They dislike boats, so enterprising humans and halflings frequently handle trades in dwarven goods along water routes. Trustworthy members of other races are welcome in dwarven settlements, though some areas are often off-limits to them. The chief unit of a dwarven society is the clan, and the dwarves highly value social standing. Even dwarves who live far from their own kingdoms cherish their clan identities and affiliations, recognize related dwarves, and invoke their ancestors' names in oaths and curses. To be clanless is the worst fate that can befall a dwarf. Dwarves in other lands are typically artisans, especially weaponsmiths, armorers, and jewelers. Some become mercenaries or bodyguards, highly sought after for their courage and loyalty. Gods, gold, and clan. Dwarves who take up the adventuring life might be motivated by a desire for treasure for its own sake, for a specific purpose, or even out of an altruistic desire to help others. Other dwarves are driven by the command or inspiration of a deity, a direct calling, or simply a desire to bring glory to one of the dwarf gods. Clan and ancestry are also important motivators. A dwarf might seek to restore a clan's lost honor, avenge an ancient wrong the clan has suffered, or earn a new place within the clan after being exiled. Or a dwarf might search for the axe wielded by a mighty ancestor lost on the field of battle centuries ago. In the area to the side, we have the Slow to Trust excerpt. Dwarves get along passably well with most races. The difference between an acquaintance and a friend is about 100 years. A dwarf saying that might be hyperbole, but certainly points to how difficult it can be for a member of short-lived races like humans to earn a dwarf's trust. Elves. It's not wise to depend on the elves. No telling what an elf will do next. When the hammer meets an orc's head, they're apt to start singing as to pull out a sword. They're flighty and frivolous. Two things that can be said for them, though. They don't have many smiths, but the ones that they do have very fine work. And when orcs or goblins come streaming down off the mountains, an elf's good to have your back. Not as good as a dwarf, maybe, but no doubt they hate the orcs as much as we do. Halflings. Sure, they're pleasant folk, but show me a halfling hero, an empire, a triumphant army, even a treasure for the ages made by halfling hands. Nothing? How can you take them seriously? Humans. You take the time to get to know a human, and by then the human's on her deathbed. If you're lucky, she's got kin, a daughter or a granddaughter maybe, who's got hands and heart as good as theirs. That's when you make a human friend. And watch them go. They set their hearts on something and they'll get it, whether it's a dragon's hoard or an empire's throne. You have to admire that kind of dedication, even if it gets them into trouble more often than not. Shush cat. Next page. Dwarven names. A dwarf's name is granted by a clan elder in accordance with tradition. Every proper dwarven name has been used and reused down through the generations. A dwarf's name belongs to the clan, not to the individual. A dwarf who misuses or brings shame to a clan name is stripped of the name and forbidden by law to use any dwarven name in its place. Male names include Adric, Albrecht, Bjarn, Berdern, Botor, Buenar, Dane, Derrick, Dilg, Ilberk, Ilnkil, Fargrim, Flint, Garden, Harberk, Kildrak, Morgan, Orsic, Orsk, Rangrim, Rurik, Tallinn, Thorin, Tordek, Tarbon, Travork, Ulfgar, Vilt, Vondel. Female names include Amber, Arten, Uldruhid, Baudrin, Dagnall, Delsa, Eldith, Falkarun, Finolin, Gunloda, Gerdis, Hilda, Hilm, Cathra, Christrid, Eld, Lifrasa, Madred, Riswin, Sanel, Torbera, Torgra, and Vistra. Clan names include Baldic, Battlehammer, Anvil, Danuncle, Fireforge, Frostbeard, Groon, Holderkick, Ironfist, Lorder, Ludiger, Lutger, Rumenhelm, Straklin, Torun, Ungart. Dwarf traits. Your dwarf character is an assortment of inborn abilities, part and parcel of dwarven nature. Ability score increase. Your constitution score increases by 2. Age. Dwarves mature at the same rate as humans, but they're considered young until they reach an age of 50. On average, they live about 350 years. Alignment. Most dwarves are lawful, believing firmly in the beliefs of a well-ordered society. They tend toward good as well, with a strong sense of fair play and a belief that everyone deserves to share in the benefits of a just order. Size. Dwarves stand between 4 and 5 foot tall and average about 150 pounds. Your size is medium. Speed. Your base walking speed is 25 feet. Your speed is not reduced by wearing heavy armor. Dark vision. Accustomed to life underground, you have superior vision in the dark and dim conditions. You can see in dim light within 60 feet as if you were in bright light, and in darkness as if you are in dim light. You can't discern colors in darkness, only shades of gray. Dwarven resilience. You have advantage on saving throws against poison, and you have resistance of poison damage, explained in Chapter 9, Combat. Dwarven combat training. You have proficiency in the battle axe, hand axe, light hammer, and war hammer. Tool proficiency. You gain proficiency with the artisan's tools of your choice, smith's tools, brewer's supplies, or mason tools. Stone cunning. Whenever you make an intelligence, in parentheses history, check, related to the origin of stonework, you are considered proficient in the history skill and add double your proficiency bonus to the check, instead of your normal proficiency bonus. Language. You can speak, read, and write in Common and in Dwarvish. Dwarvish is full of hard consonant and guttural sounds, and those characteristics spill over into whatever other language a dwarf might speak. Subrace. The two main subraces of dwarves populate the world of D&D are hill dwarves and mountain dwarves. Choose one of these subraces. As a Hilldorf, you have keen senses, deep intuition, and remarkable resilience. The gold dwarves of Farun in the mighty southern kingdom are hill dwarves, as are the exiled Neldar and the debased Klar of Kryn in the Dragonlance setting. Ability in scores increase your wisdom by 1. Dwarven toughness. Your hit point maximum increases by 1, and it increases by 1 every time you gain a level. Mountain Dwarf. As a Mountain Dwarf, you are strong and hardy, accustomed to a difficult life in rugged terrain. You're probably on the tall side for a dwarf, and tend toward lighter coloration. The Shield Dwarves of the Northern Faerun, as well as the ruling Halar clan and the noble Dewar clan of Dragonlance, are Mountain Dwarves. Ability score increase. Your score... sorry. Ability score increase. Your strength score increases by 2. Dwarven armor training. You have proficiency with light and medium armor. And another little excerpt here. Duergar. In cities deep in the Underdark live the Duergar, or Grey Dwarves. These vicious, stealthy slave traders raid the surface world for captives, then sell their prey to other races of the Underdark. They have innate magical abilities and become invisible and temporarily grow to giant size. Well, that is all for Dwarf. I hope it was informative and you followed around okay. I coughed a lot less than I thought I was going to. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you have been enjoying this series, and you will like, comment, and subscribe.